We've all had those moments in life where everything feels unclear, where the weight of uncertainty presses down on our hearts. You wake up one day and suddenly the path that seemed so clear is now clouded with doubts. Questions start flooding your mind. What should I do next? Is this the right decision? Why is this happening to me? Where do I go from here? And in these moments of confusion, it's so easy to feel completely lost. It's like walking through a dense fog. Every step forward feels uncertain and you can't see the road ahead. You don't know which way to turn. You start to feel overwhelmed, as if you're carrying the world on your shoulders, and everyone around you seems to have it all figured out. But you feel stuck, paralyzed by indecision, weighed down by the sheer number of choices and what-ifs. But what if I told you, you are never truly lost? What if I told you that even in those moments of confusion and doubt, even when it feels like you're walking through a storm with no shelter in sight, you are never alone? Because there's always someone watching over you. There's always someone guiding you, even when you can't see it. And that someone is Allah. You see, the very first step in seeking Allah's guidance is simple, yet it holds immense power. It's about acknowledging our need for Him. In a world that constantly tells us to rely on ourselves, to figure things out on our own, it's easy to forget that we were never meant to carry the burden of life's uncertainties alone. We have a Creator who loves us more than we could ever comprehend. A Creator who is always there, waiting for us to turn to Him. This life is full of moments that test us, that challenge us in ways we never expected. Sometimes it feels like we're walking through life trying to figure out every answer by ourselves. But Allah, in His infinite wisdom and mercy, has never asked us to do that. He never said we had to figure everything out on our own. In fact, He constantly reminds us that we don't have to. In the Quran, Allah says, "Call upon me, I will respond to you." Surah Ghafir 40:60. Think about that for a moment. Allah, the Lord of all worlds, the one who controls everything in existence, has told us directly, "Call upon me and I will respond." That's a promise. It's not a suggestion, not a maybe. It's a promise from our Creator. And yet, how often do we forget this? How often do we try to handle everything on our own when all we need to do is call out to the one who has all the answers? So in those moments when confusion feels like a heavy weight on your chest, when it seems like the world is closing in and you don't know which way to turn, remember this. Allah is waiting for you to call upon Him. He's waiting for you to turn to Him with your worries, your fears, your confusion. And all you have to do is ask. Just take that first step. Ask Him for guidance. Pour your heart out to Him, because He's always listening. And when you do, when you take that moment to sincerely turn to Him, you'll find a sense of peace like no other. One of the most powerful ways to seek Allah's guidance is through prayer. And I'm not just talking about the obligatory prayers. Yes, they are vital, but beyond that, prayer is more than just an obligation. It's a conversation. It's our direct connection to the one who created us, the one who knows everything, sees everything, and controls everything. When we stand in prayer, we're not just performing a ritual. We're standing before the Lord of the universe, pouring our hearts out to Him, seeking His wisdom, His mercy, and sadin. But here's the thing. When we feel lost, when we're drowning in uncertainty, we often look for answers in the world around us. We turn to people for advice, we search online for solutions, we wait for signs. And while seeking advice isn't wrong, we sometimes forget that the truest, most reliable spiritual guidance comes from Allah. When we turn to Him in prayer, we're not just seeking answers. We're seeking peace. And in that peace, we often find clarity. Think about it. How many times have you gone through something difficult, and after praying, you suddenly felt a sense of calm? Maybe your situation didn't change right away. Maybe you didn't get the answer you were hoping for. But there was a shift inside you, a quiet, deep assurance that everything was going to be okay. That's the power of turning to Allah. That's the power of knowing that no matter how lost you feel, Allah is always guiding you. Through Salah, we anchor ourselves in the certainty of Allah's plan. Even when we can't see the whole picture, we remind ourselves that Allah is in control. We remind ourselves that His wisdom is greater than our understanding. Every step we take, every prayer we offer, brings us closer to that divine guidance. But sometimes the guidance doesn't come right away. Sometimes, despite all our prayers, despite our sincere efforts, we still feel confused. The answers we're looking for don't appear. And in those moments, it's easy to get frustrated. It's easy to wonder, why isn't Allah guiding me? Why am I still feeling lost? This is where the beauty of sabr, patience, comes into play. You see, patience isn't just about waiting. It's about trusting. It's about trusting that Allah's timing is always perfect, even when we can't see it. Sometimes the answer we're seeking isn't revealed right away, because Allah is preparing us for something greater. He's building our strength, our character, and our trust in Him. In the Quran, Allah reminds us of this when He says, "And be patient, for indeed, Allah does not allow the reward of those who do good to be lost." Surah Hud 11:1-15. So when the answers don't come as quickly as we hope, When the confusion lingers, remember that Allah's plan is always unfolding. His guidance isn't just about clarity. It's also about the strength we build in waiting. It's about the trust we develop in those moments of uncertainty. And here's something else to think about. Guidance from Allah often appears in the most unexpected ways. It might not be a loud, clear voice telling you exactly what to do. Sometimes it's in the subtle signs, in the small, quiet moments. It's in the doors that close before you, or the doors that suddenly open. It's in the people you meet, the conversations you have, the advice you hear from a friend that feels like it was meant just for you. Allah speaks to us through the events in our lives. A job you didn't get might be a blessing in disguise. A relationship that didn't work out might be Allah's way of protecting you from something you couldn't see. A difficult situation might be the very thing that prepares you for something far greater in the future. Our role is to stay aware, to keep our hearts open, our minds receptive, and to trust that Allah is always guiding us, even when the path seems unclear. At the end of the day, seeking Allah's guidance isn't just about receiving answers. It's about building a relationship of trust with our Creator. It's about surrendering our confusion and saying, "Oh Allah, I trust you with my heart, my decisions, and my future." It's about recognizing that we may not always understand why things happen the way they do, but Allah's plan is always better than anything we could imagine. So, when confusion strikes, don't let it paralyze you. Let it be the moment that brings you closer to Allah. Turn to Him in prayer. Thank you for watching. If this video brought you any comfort, any peace, be sure to share it with someone who might need it. And remember, no matter how confused or lost you may feel, Allah's guidance is only a prayer away. Until next time, stay connected to Him, and you'll never be lost.